everybody. Welcome to another episode of Babies with Knives. Tonight we're going to continue with Chaotic Origins, and we're going to be playing it now in Super's Red System. We've converted ourselves from 400-point Hero System characters to 25-point Super's Red characters, playing the same characters though. I'm going to be playing Scarab. I'm Alice, Alice Pang, also known as Lala Twiddle on the boards, by the way. And with me tonight is our GM, Brandon Powers. He's also my co-host. And then our dear friends, Aldo Regalado and Timothy Lemaster. Please say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Howdy.
Aldo will be playing Ghostlight, and Timothy Lemaster will be playing a brick named, Jim Diamond. There we go. Diamond Jim.
Diamond Jim.
Well, let's take it away, Brandon.
As you guys come out of the alley, there is all of a sudden there's a large group of people that was apparently here beforehand, and they are freaking out as bugs are swarming down. As you're looking out, you guys see signs that it's like Black Lives Matter and such are being discarded as people are running screaming, and whoever the speaker was is like, this is what I'm talking about. The people that are in power do not care about us. Look at the infestation that is striking into our homes. And I saw Jim and Alice both had Tim and Alice. The fact that you went with rhyming character.
Oh no, I thought you
real
said.
name.
I don't know what she had her hand up for.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
I have a statement.
Go ahead.
So in my mind, Kayla is telling Scarab, next time can you try a handheld version? I think that'll scare a few less people around here.
And there's these signs that have been discarded as people are quickly breaking up whatever rally was going on for Black Lives Matter.
Because the bugs are skittering everywhere. Okie dokie. Well, we continue to follow.
Okay.
Or at least I continue to follow.
Are they onto something? The bugs?
They are continuing on. I didn't, if you wanted to stop for anything, you're welcome to.
Okay. What is the speaker doing as the people run off?
They, like I said, they were calling out that this is what they were talking about, that the people down here aren't who matters anymore and such. And there's a few people that have tried to find safety and continue, but most of the mass has been chased off by Alice. She's a very effective crowd control in this regard.
I ended up a little creepier than I intended with the character.
They are not in Mexico City. They do not expect the swarm of cockroaches to just come out at night.
Scarabs.
I'm certain they took the time to differentiate.
Now, Alice, do these scarabs look like
You cut out. Do these scarabs look what?
from the Mummy movie?
Yeah, they basically do.
Okay.
They look like black scarabs crawling everywhere. As
So are you guys
Kayla's asking
continuing?
for a handheld version next time of any tracking spells.
Yeah, continue for now.
Okay. Kyle, as you are going, you see a number of pictures on some of the rally boards and such, and of young African American women that are on the different boards in memory of missing you, things like that.
All right, you know what? That was an instinct I had, but I don't want to lose track of the bugs. But when he sees those, he's going to fly over to one of the speakers, where I imagine are kind of like picking, like about to walk away or whatever. But he's going to head over to one of.
When Ghostlight does that, Scarab will pause and let Kayla take over. and Kayla will walk over behind Ghostlight. Because this is actually something Kayla actually cares about. But Scarab was saying we need to go.
Alright, the bugs are going to continue on
Okay?
as you guys stop, because they don't care about you. And so yeah, Ghostlight, you fly over as these people are, they kind of have their backs turned towards you, and they're like, oh my god, what just happened? And they're just kind of getting ready to break everything down and such. And the media, the couple of people that were here reporting on the rally are now reporting on this swarm of insects that has apparently surged up from the Harlem sewers. They're not really aware of you at this time, since they are literally following these bugs that are moving somewhere.
May I speak with you?
The person turns around and they're like, "Oh, of course, I'm don't know who you are though."
I'm Ghostlight. And I'm here because I was told that your community's plagued by there's being preyed on by something or someone.
The individual nods. He's like, "First, I'm Copernicus. My father was a bit of a scientist, and yes, we have had losses recently in our community. Go ahead and give me a roll for basically, him wanting to talk to you. I know you don't have presence, which maybe I'm being, monstrous in the fact that I keep asking you for something similar.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I mean it's gonna have to be unless I can roll streetwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll allow streetwise.
You know what though? I rolled 2 1s, so.
By the way, I'm
Unfortunately, there's another superhero game, but that's not playing that one.
I know that the ones would be awesome right now.
Train your dice.
I'm specifically hiding behind the light that you're emitting. By the way, at the moment,
Yeah.
not but I'm just there to observe at the moment, using your light to shield me.
Yeah.
All right. So he's like, by all means, I will tell you. My name is Copernicus, and I will speak to you on the plague that besieges our community. We have lost young ones as of late. We have lost 5 different girls within the past week. And is this being covered by the media up until tonight? No, they speak of fictitious mole men that are traveling in the sewers. They talk of alligators and of sharks. But when it comes down to our lives, those of us that are living here, and he's obviously trying to save a few of the people that are here and get the attention for their rally back, as well as just being kind of like, oh, you're showing up now. No, this has not mattered to anyone until we have come out in force to demonstrate on this, to speak out against everything that has gone on. That we are the undesired of this world, of this city. He picks up one of the banners and he says, "Look at her! Look at her! Her young Effie, she was taken from us. We saw the police, but we have heard nothing from them since then. And this Maria, she is gone too. 5 nights. 5 nights she's been missing. But I do not see the officers on these streets. They instead look to those high towers," and he points down to downtown Manhattan. They pay their attention down on those streets rather than being here.
I look at the pictures that he's referencing. General age range, general build, etc. Any distinguishing features or anything that that they have similarities to each other, etc.
Sure. Do you have investigation or anything similar to that?
Do I believe? Let me double check. Nope. I have academia. I don't have investigation.
All right, go ahead and roll your 1 die. You'll pick some stuff up. I'm just wondering. You
I
want
rolled
a
a
6.
5.
A 5. That's pretty good still. All right. These are all young, black women, approximately probably about 15 to 20, you might think. All coming from the community. They are based on the pictures that you're seeing. They're all probably reasonably tall, thin. Some of them look like they might have a little bit of mixed ancestry among them. Some of them you recognize. They're not necessarily friends of yours or anything like that, but going maybe you go to school with one of them, or you've seen them at away games, or they come to root for their team, or for you it's academia more that you might have dealt with them through some events like that on an opposing team.
I whisper to
Anything?
Ghostlight.
Yeah.
I know that one.
Effie?
Yeah, went. I know that one. She hasn't been to school in a few days. People are talking about her. I never spent time with her, but they're saying she hasn't been to school all week.
All right.
Nobody's
How
saying
long?
why.
As she's telling him this, I'm looking at it too to see. Roll a 12 investigate, see if there's anything more that he can pick up about. They list circumstances, anything in the comparison of the two images or the information on the placards that could give him more information. And if not, he's going to ask Copernicus for more info.
The Scarab Queen without her makeup would fit very well among the girls' looks. Is something that you immediately notice.
Okay.
Is that they all have strong similarities
All of
to
mixed
the
ancestry
Yes.
a bit.
Yes.
and and all fairly attractive females, similar age range, such like that. Go ahead and reiterate your question, because I swore I had another thing that I was going to tell you.
Me?
Yes.
I was just saying, based on the comparing the two images, based on any information that might be written on the placards, or anything that's on that is on there, that the people in the photographs are wearing, whether it be dress or hair or makeup or or school insignias or anything like that might lead him to another deduction about
Gotcha. They all some of them are from the same schools, but there are multiple schools that are there. The girls are from different local areas, the streets that they are listed at, or the last seen locations, but they are all in this Harlem area. On that, some of them were, as you're looking through and just trying to parse the information, they were disappeared after having gone out to a party that they were seen leaving, or they went to the library to study, things like that. So it seems like they all got picked up on the streets at night.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them do seem to be in school.
Okay.
Though they are
school?
different schools. No, not the same school.
Okay.
Some of them are high school, some of them are college, but all of them are actively in school. Which five individuals. That's by all means something that jumps out at you.
Yeah.
And if you have any other specific questions on that, and go ahead, Tim. What do you got?
What were they all studying? What were their majors? That could be relevant.
One of them, we'll say two of them are actually in college. One of them was history, the other was humanities.
And the high school kids?
The high school kids, they get their general high school stuff. They don't get
Yeah,
to choose.
but they get
You know,
electives, and so they can where they're active, what types of clubs they're active in, and such like that.
Sure. And in hobbies, they all seem to be, on the intellectual side because a bunch of the boards have stuff like that listed out and such. They all seem like they were probably, smart young girls that were likely to go somewhere, from what you're able to gather from the board information.
based on what Leo said, this could just be a case of mistaken identity.
Are you saying that out loud right now?
Yes, to you, loud enough for you to hear it, but not necessarily Copernicus. I assume Copernicus basically
So you're
kind of
saying
like,
that they're grabbing
Oh
me?
yeah, he's turned away from you, and he's
right,
this is, I'm not trying to make the guy out to be an asshole. This is
Yeah.
like
right,
what they're trying to get out, and he's at this point trying to salvage, the rally that
right,
they had. They got publicity, which
right,
is something that they have to try and use since they're concerned
right.
about their community.
So
Sure,
you're
sure.
saying that they're grabbed because whoever's grabbing
They're
them
looking
thinks
for
they're
you.
me. So you're saying
Yes.
that these girls are likely dead because of me. It's my fault.
Why? Why would it be your fault?
Because if they had found me, then they wouldn't be going after these girls.
It's a twisted way of looking at it. It's the
We
fault
need
of
to
whoever
stop
did
them.
it.
Somehow you knew all this, you didn't do anything. You just didn't care.
Diamond Jim, I didn't know. If I'd known, I would have walked myself back, acted sooner. I
All
wouldn't have
right.
let this happen to them.
So I don't want to hear you blaming yourself for something you had no control over. You got control over it now, so let's get something done. Get these
Agreed. Let's
girls,
get them. Let's save
dead
them.
or alive. If they're alive, oh, thank God. But if something happened to them, their kinfolk have a right to know.
Agreed.
We have the
Let's
right
do
to
it.
stop this thing.
You really think they were taken because they think they were me?
Excuse me.
Happens to all of us. What was the question, Alice?
You really think that they were taken because they thought there was me?
It seems very possible.
Then let's bring me to them, and let's stop them for good.
Where are they? Harlem's a big place. We got to find out exactly where they are.
Bugs went that way. We should probably
Okay.
see if we can catch up.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
going to try and pick up the trail of my bugs.
Okay. You are able to find, as the news people have been running after them and such like that, or at least some of them, um, to try and pick up a story about these bugs that have destroyed a Black Lives Matter rally, and you're able to find some of the way that they went, but you do lose them in lose their exact location by all means, as they've had plenty of time to continue moving.
Right. Okay.
You guys are, in like I said, there was a nightclub and such, and so you're in an area of Harlem that has a nightlife element to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. All right.
All right. Ghostlight, maybe we should talk to some of the working ladies, see if they know anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely do that. Um, Scarab, do you have any idea why they would be after you specifically?
They would, as I mentioned in the park with Leo. My eyes flicker again. She's having a little bit of trouble talking about it right now. They're after us because she was sent here to stop them. And they are they are the children of Set, children of darkness. In the Egyptian lore, in her history, there are two entities that would equate to that which would be the dark forces of the world, to Hades and other words. There's a term for it in the Bible as well. In Egyptian, there are two entities that make up the two sides of such things. One is Set, and the other one is the god of lizards.
So Set's just after you because
So
you're
bad.
you.
That's what she thinks, yeah. She's
All right.
very much racked with guilt right now, so she's not wanting to come out. She wants
All
to
right.
stop this.
Well, I'll ask around and see if anybody.
I might be
Kind
able to
of,
do and try and find our way there with a little less a little less pomp and circumstance than her bugs. While you look around and ask, I'll see
all
if
right.
I can figure something out.
So, um, okay. So, two things, I guess, Brandon. One, you said there's a little bit of a nightlife here,
Mm-hmm.
right? So two things. One, he's going to walk around and he's going to basically try using streetwise to to see if he can pick up any information, anything weird that people have seen, any stalkers, anybody going into, manhole covers, anybody hanging out in an abandoned building, anything like that, anybody like that. Secondly, he wants to be looking around to see if he sees anybody in this crowd who might be a likely target because they look too similar um, to Kyla, right? So uh, so if somebody else is going to get snatched up tonight, if he could, if he can get a beat on who that person might be, just because they look the type, then that's something he'd be interested in doing.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead and
So
give me
should
your roll.
the streetwise first,
Whichever
or you
one you
want me
want
to
to
do?
lead with.
Okay, I figure just in terms of the order of things, right? He's gonna try the streetwise, roll the 9 on that, and then I guess for the second one, would it be an awareness or would it be an investigation?
I'd say let's go ahead and with an awareness.
That makes sense. And I rolled a 10 on that one.
Okay, well, you sound like you are pretty on the spot with these. Um,
And I guess
you
he's doing these actually as Kyle, right? So you'll go into an alley, turn into Kyle, because I don't know, a ghost light walking around asking questions, and that's going to be one thing, right? And yeah,
yeah, I was wondering if that was going to come out and how
yeah,
that you wanted to play that.
yeah.
So you are good with them seeing who you are, your two comrades.
No, he says I'll be in touch, and he'll dip into an alley, and then Kyle will come out somewhere else
Okay.
for now.
While he's doing that, I'm going to actually cast a spell.
Okay. What's your spell going to be?
Yesewi Berhani Kalali Menegenji. And you see, I pick up some gravel on the pavement, and it lifted into the air, and I blow it into the wind, and it turns into sand, this glittery sand that's just catching the moonlight, and it starts to wafting in that direction, and I said, the sands light my way.
Okay. So what is this spell?
I am using elemental control sand to basically allow it to catch on the wind to try and allow the light to guide it. I'm using a different guiding spell, a tracking spell again, but this one is from Kayla, not from Scarab.
And what's your roll?
I got
To
10.
do this, I'm gonna make you stunt for that. So you can decide if you do want to do this after words, or if you want to do it concurrently, I will make you pay the die. Because I don't think that's a innate feature of sand, is tracking things. Unless you're tracking sand into your car.
Yeah, I will totally spend die to stun. That's totally fine with me.
Diamond Jim, are you attempting anything at the same time as these guys are running off?
Well, if I try to ask any questions, I'll just I don't have the senses I had with the original character, so I have to work on that later. I can't think of anything.
Okay. So you're just hanging out with Scarab as she grabs up some.
Yeah, I lend a Fed and the bug lady do the investigating. I'm just here to hit things.
Okay.
Or fix things. They can fix things real low.
Alright, so Kyle Resnick walks into the alley, the light follows him, and then suddenly, and you're looking from outside of the alley, the light that's just emanating, stops, and then outside the other side, walks FBI agent Resnick, and he's fixing his tie and such.
Exactly.
What kind of, who are you going to go talk to specifically?
If there are ladies of the night,
by all means,
actually ask them first, since they have an eye out on, they have a good sense of what's going on in the streets, right?
So you approach some of them, and they I was totally thinking of propositioning you, but then I'm like, wow, he probably gives them that exact feel of, oh look, the cops are here.
Right.
And so they
5-0.
That's right. So they look at you and they're like, what can I do for you, 5-0?
Well, actually, I have questions about goings on around here recently. I understand that there have been young women taken from the streets, and I was wondering if you guys have noticed anything strange that might lead us to who's doing this.
It takes 5 girls for you guys to come down, start talking to us.
Well, that's a fair criticism, but it's duly noted. But we're here now, or I'm here now anyway, and I'm asking if you've noticed anything strange, anything out of the ordinary, even if it's really weird.
Sorry, Lala, I was trying to follow what you were saying.
His response should have been, well, the GM didn't tell us we could have 4 girls.
She says, yeah, there's been some things going on at night. The streets don't feel as safe as they used to. And she, pulls her clothes a little protectively around her as she says that. I ain't seen nobody specific, but as the week's gone on, there's something. She kind of looks over her shoulder. There's something that it just doesn't feel right. We're being more careful, trying to make certain that we're watching out for each other. But those girls, they weren't one of us.
No, I know that. One of the tips I got mentioned, fortunately the guy wasn't too coherent, but he mentioned something about the spiritual heart or the spiritual center of Harlem. Said it had something to do with all of this. Do you have a sense of what he could have been talking about?
I'd say it all depends on who you talk to. It's whether it's cultural or whether it's, and she makes a cross, whether it's spiritual.
This guy seemed
On
to be pretty spiritual.
there's a there's a church, and she gives you an address a couple blocks away. There's some good people there that my grandma used to take me. But there's a new place that only been around for a little while, and they call it the Church of the Streets. And those folks ain't sat right with me.
Hmm. All right. Where's that place?
You can find them all over at times, but generally, and she gives you an address over close to a park in Harlem. Um,
Okay.
Generally, you'll find them using a building out there.
All right. Thank you. What doesn't sit right with you about them?
You seem like you came out here to help.
I did.
I never got that feeling from them.
Hmm. What do they ask for? What do they want?
They say that they're here. They say they're here to help us all. That in times like this, we need to band together. But I don't know. Band together felt more like they had something they wanted to do, that they wanted to accomplish. Felt like we were a means to an end,
All right.
rather than what they actually wanted to do.
All right.
I know a few people have gone over there. Some of them I've seen since. Some people I haven't seen.
All right. Thanks for your time.
You just find who took those girls, 5-0.
I'm working on it. Good night, ladies.
Good night, officer.
He'll move on.
Nice one.
All right. All right. With that, he'll go into an alley and resume ghostlight form.
Okay.
Still keeping out for another potential target, but with that, I think he has enough to get back in touch with these two, with his two companions, and let them know what he found.
Okay. So yeah, Ghostlight comes back and says, gives you guys the lowdown on what he was
Yeah.
able to gather. And by all means, you could have talked to a few other people. That's obviously the notable interaction. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
You don't necessarily go, oh, this is the first thing that I hear. Let me do that.
Right.
But yeah, you come back with the source of what you've gotten, and Alice is communing with the sand, and is sending this sand. Why don't you go ahead and describe the awesome comic panel as he's coming back of you and Diamond Jim as you're completing your spell and all.
Sure. So you see that I have some gravel in my hand, asphalt gravel and such, and I start rubbing it in my fingers like I did with the Scarab earlier, changing it, and I lift it up into the air, and it's this sparkly sand that's catching on the moonlight. It's almost like glitter, except you can tell that it's sand, and it starts to move in like wispy motions around, and it almost looks like a serpent looking and trying to sniff something, trying to find something, almost, but there's not quite that form. And then it just starts moving in a direction.
Okay. And so yeah, you've got that glittery sand that she was just talking about, kind of flying off.
I'm thinking that this might be a little less alarming than seeing a bunch of bugs around. I'm not as good as she is at it. It took a little while longer, but I think I got the gist of the essence of the idea. I
Wait, the sand is just you?
Yeah,
You do that.
yeah. I don't. It's a very long story, but apparently I have my own magic, and that's why she found me. And she's got her magic that she gives me when she takes over. It's still really weird, and I don't understand all of it. But she says that this is me, and I control some of it.
That's impressive.
I'm still learning. I'm still learning.
I'm impressed, kid.
Thanks.
And this is all what? A couple months for you too?
Couple weeks. I'm a fast learner, especially when she's bombarding me with all my lessons in my mind. Super speed.
All right. Well,
I met Scarab. You see me check my fingers, and you see I point out a, a scab that's healing. Um, well, a couple weeks ago, scab's still there, hasn't quite healed.
Wow. I learned that much so fast. I wish I had you in math in high school.
Trust me, it's an unpleasant lesson at times. She's just She plays videos in my mind at high speed. It's like watching a movie on fast forward, and then you have to keep up. That's what she does sometimes, and that's how she taught me that. And when I started using what she says is me, I started understanding it. It became like instinct, like you know how to walk, you know how to breathe, you know how to eat. It became like that, and it became easier and easier each time I tried.
well, like I said, I'm impressed. Now listen,
Thanks.
the sand of yours, is it gonna can you send it to sniff out this church of the streets that my contacts told me about? I
Well,
mean, it might be a good place to focus your search.
I focused when I was casting the spell. I focused the magic on finding the girls. I
All
mean, if
right.
we find the girls, we find them, right? That's the theory. And we want to save the girls, so my focus was finding all those girls on that board. That was what I had in my mind.
Sure. Sure.
But I'm not good enough that once I get a spell going, that I can change it. Uh,
That's all right.
Is that me taking over on the driver's seat again?
yep,
I
that's
think so.
you.
Okay. Um, the as you guys are talking, the sand, kind of swirling around her, and then she sends it out, and Allison is saying, well, I designed the spell to find the girls and such, and you send the sand out, and it starts to flow out, and then just stops and drops.
I guess that means there are no girls to find.
No, I think that maybe we're supposed to go down.
Oh,
And you don't see the shining or anything like that. It just there's no, it's just on the street as like
Well,
dust.
oh, um, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I can try again, but it's hard for me. Like I said, I'm not as good as Scarab at finding as at tracking. I'm better with sand. The when you saw us disappear in pits of sand, that's me. That's the first
Right.
thing she taught me was to create sand and move through it. Um,
Yeah.
I can try and see if I can find something. Maybe Scarab will come out again right now. Maybe she's willing.
Well, let me see if I can give it a shot. You,
Yeah,
by
you
all
do that.
means, do. He's he's gonna sit. I guess he doesn't have to, but he's gonna sit kind of cross-legged on the roof, and he's going to, the light that plays on his costume is going to come up to his hands and come out of his hands and turn into a ball, and he's going to send it out, and he's going to send it out to the address that I was given for the church of the street.
Okay.
All right, and that's clairsentience with all the limitations and stuff on it. So it'll take a little while to get there and look around, and he won't know anything until it comes back.
Okay.
But, ooh, it's an 18 total.
Cool. 18. Go ahead, Jim.
You know what? I'm gonna look for literature. This is upcoming church. They might be passing out tracts and stuff like that.
That's a good
Start
idea.
looking around for anything like that. Any pamphlets or flyers or anything.
Yep. If we're gonna walk the walk, we may as well learn how to talk the talk. That's a good idea.
So Jim is looking for pamphlets on what to, about the church, and he's easily able to locate some in the alleys and such. And it's like, have nowhere to turn, feel like the world doesn't understand you. There's still a family that will accept you. And it's as you guys are reading this and already having an analytical eye, all of you get the feeling on this very predatory language based in it is to create a sense of alienation between the reader and regular society, as if one already exists, to intensify that, and then to make a promise of a place where everybody knows your name. That kind of cheers dream, and to reinforce an us versus them mentality that probably would already exist within certain readers, some at-risk individuals, as Kyle Resnick would think.
These look like they're recruiting for a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like it.
Eyes flicker, so you see Resnick sees the blue again. Yes, the children of Set are built on cults.
Well, can you do something with this, Bug Lady?
Very likely. May I see it?
Yeah.
I am sorry I needed a moment to collect myself. This is not the type of thing I expected when I came. Okay, Brandon, at that point I am going to try and activate with all my might this time. 5 dice. Let's see if I activate.
And what are you trying to activate?
I'm trying to activate wizardry. This time I'm going to actually try the handheld version like the little girl was telling me. So I put my hand over my scarab, my focus, and I one hand on my forehead over the scarab. My other hand is on my staff, and I am holding it just below the scarab on my staff. And I am basically going to channel the energy into the from my headpiece into the staff head and allow it to act as a dowsing rod to point me in the direction.
I totally see the Raiders of the Lost Ark of, setting up the figurehead so that it catches the light, but this is the light from her.
I activate.
And such.
Ooh, that's really nice. 6, 6, 5, 4, hold on, that's 10.
Alice, I don't think you're activating.
24.
24, okay. And you set up this catching, the light from your
The
headpiece.
Yep, and the emeralds and the rubies on the staff with the scarab.
Yeah, and trying to channel focus it, and the beam of light flies down in that same path that that Ghost Light's entity flew off in.
I believe we should follow that.
I hear you. Let's head on out.
Ghost,
Saddle up. Lock and load.
Mm-hmm.
are you able to call back your friend if we encounter fights? If we counter a resistance?
Well, I'm kind of on his time now. On its time now. The traveler will come back when it's done scouting.
Are you able to fight without your companion?
Well, I can still throw a punch.
Good to know.
I can't do anything. I can't do anything related to the light, though.
Understood.
Is your character packing?
What?
Are you carrying a gun?
Yeah, I am.
So you guys were following Alice's
Yep.
projection?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is totally Egyptian looking too, because you see some of the movies, the beams of light coming off the staff. And, yep.
Yeah. Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
We're going Indiana Jones style. Less creepy. And
All right.
and Scarab asks, "Is this less disturbing?"
Yeah, I'd say so.
The little one is trying to help me understand that there are things in this time and place that are not so easily, that don't accept certain aspects of me as easily. So I may need to work on adjusting some things at times. But I cannot adjust all of what I do, unfortunately.
Understood.
So you guys arrive at the address, and I was literally about to roll on this. So Aldo had a 21 on his clairsentience, and
I think it was an 18, actually.
I've got it written down. Oh, it is an 18. And the ball comes back out to you. You're looking in at this building in nearby. I'm certain you guys aren't just standing in front of it.
Yeah.
But you are looking at that from an angle as this merges in with you. And although you get the flight that it took, searching, and it searched for a ways, and then it came to this area, and as it's passing into the building, all of a sudden, like, there's nothing. It's still recording, but it's there. You don't see anything as it's moving around in there, and then it comes out, and it's recording. The recording's still going, and so as it basically comes out of that darkness,
it's pitch black in there. It's a void. He'll turn to Scarab in particular and say that.
Avoid how?
Well,
Has someone
it
cast a
was
blanket of darkness, or that nothing exists
I
in
couldn't
there?
tell you. I couldn't tell you if anybody cast anything, but it's like there was nothing in there. It was just absolute darkness. The traveler couldn't see anything, so I can't see anything.
Then we should be on our guard. Is there any preparation you must do before we enter? Looking to both of you.
No, I'm good. How about you, Jim?
Can you see inside?
I couldn't see anything in there. Nothing. It was pitch black.
Well, I don't think we should into a place without knocking.
go ahead and everybody give me your awareness or danger sense as well.
danger sense, I rolled crap. I rolled a 4. And I rolled the exact same thing for my awareness.
8 on awareness. I rolled bad.
My awareness is 1D, right?
If you
No,
do
I
not
don't
have
have
them
something
separately,
specific,
yes.
Yeah.
3.
Okay. Where are you guys at the moment? Like, describe where you guys stopped, and in relation to this church.
What were you guys thinking? I was imagining rooftops, but that's because of my particular form of travel. If you guys didn't imagine that, then I would have taken whatever.
Rooftops are a little hard on Alice. Jim will get to a rooftop though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe an alley then, like in an alley.
And there is a park across the street.
Okay.
Well, I no longer have the ground limitation on the sand part, so I can theoretically teleport hole to hole.
I thought that was part of your theory on the elemental control, is that, since it's tied to the sand, is that you're coming up from the earth.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I did want to stick with that, so I'll keep with
That's
that.
what you had told me.
Yeah, no, that's
at
cool.
one point.
I like that restriction. So, yes, I can.
Well, you know
I can
what?
follow
I'm
you
not
guys
that
below.
restricted. Well, you want to enter through the roof? Was that the plan?
No, we're asking where you guys are.
Where
we are right
sitting
now.
and talking.
So I would imagine either in the park, or if we came up through the park, or if we're in an alley looking at the building, one or the other. I don't really have a preference.
Well, apparently Jim can possibly give me a ride on his piggyback ride, and he can go from rooftop to rooftop, if rooftop's what we vote for. I don't know if Jim's willing to, but I know Jim's strong enough to.
Well, I'll take the power of the Egyptian queen goddess, throw her over my back, and leap her over to it.
Okay,
So it
we're
sounds
on a
like we can
rooftop
be on
then.
rooftops.
Okay.
So we're in the rooftop across the way.
How does she feel about this?
She's a little uncomfortable, so she lets the kid ride.
All right.
How does she feel about it?
It's not any more. Sorry. It ain't weirder than what I've been going through the last 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, see what you mean.
A piggyback ride's about more normal than a lot of what else is going on.
Yeah, me and my sister, she's about the same age as you, I think. You might get along.
Oh?
She's been through a lot, too.
She's still in high school?
Well, yeah, but she hasn't been there lately.
Ah.
I'm kind of on the run. I feel bad about that, too. I feel like all this kind of messed up her life. I lose my parents, and then she has to put up with this,
Well, let's make sure that all her sacrifices are worth it, then.
If anything happens, and I try to tell her to both of them, anything happens when they go in there, I just want to let you know I really appreciate the way you've been treating me. I thought everybody was just scared of me, going to run and shoot at me, and you ain't done nothing like that.
And as he's saying that, and as a GM, I feel terrible for interrupting such a tender moment here.
I know.
But with all of your amazing perception abilities, which I think the highlight was a 4.
No, 8. I got it 8. I got 3, 2 on my dice. 8.
All right, that was a lot better than the rest of them, but still.
Yeah, I rolled 2 4s.
That's like an 8.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys don't notice the shadows kind of swelling around you as you're talking on the rooftop, and Aldo's reintegrating with the traveler, and then the door to the roof is thrown open as Jim is saying that, and they're like the voice from the darkness there calls out, "Well, that's exactly how you should be treated, like a freak." And let's go ahead and get some initiatives. They are getting the drop on you guys, so.
All right.
Yeah.
How do you roll initiative?
Roll
your reaction.
Okay. Oh, wonderful. Guess who's going last?
I got a 6.
I got a 10.
I got a 4. Yeah.
10 was Ghostlight?
Yeah.
Okay. Although, how do you deal with ties?
Oh, I don't remember what we said, to
I
be
thought it
honest.
was highest reaction.
I'm not sure about that. But I'll tell you in a second. Okay. Yeah, if characters are still tied after comparing reaction ratings, yep, you're right. Reaction is rolled to determine who goes first. So
Haha.
yeah, it is. Yeah, so it's highest reaction first, and then we roll off again if not.
Okay.
What I've been doing is, if we're the same reaction, I just roll it once. Some GMs apparently will roll it each round. I just make them roll
Yeah,
it
no, I
once.
just roll it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, swelling around you as this call out goes out. But swelling around you suddenly is a storm of shadow blades. As these
Ooh.
different shadowy creatures kind of rip out, and that is exactly what they are. They're total shadow, not that they are a shadowy creature, but it
Right.
is shadows taken form that lash out at you. And so we are going to start off with swatting at lost die. We're going to start off at swatting at Scarab with our shadows. So Scarab, as these shadows rise up to assault you, how are you defending yourself?
Well, shadows mean that scarabs like to crawl out of them. So suddenly, out of these very same shadows, scarabs crawl out of them and then just start forming a wall right in front of the shadows, eating those blades.
Okay.
I activate.
What do you
15.
got for your defense? 15?
15. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The shadows tear into the wall of scarabs as they're trying to get to Scarab herself, but do not end up with finding any purchase. Jim, for the voice from the stairwell, I'm going to go ahead and let them make a presence attack as they're playing upon your own self-loathing as of your new form. And so as they say a very hurtful thing, calling you a freak. So, how are you defending against that?
Well, I guess composure would work in a case like that, right?
Yeah, composure, will, presence are all general defenses on something like that, depending on what
The
is
same
best
way
for
either
you.
way, they're both 2D, so
All right.
roll. I got 6.
You got 6. Okay. They are going to beat you by 1 success as a bunch of robed individuals pile out of the door, and they are crying out, "Well, that's exactly what you deserve, you freak!"
Okay, can I use a competency dice?
The competency die goes before you roll.
Oh, okay. You get a pencil. Hold on.
All right, and we are on to Ghostlight.
Oh, okay. So, so I would like to flash them, right? But I don't want to flash my companions. So, based on how they are arrayed on the, is it possible for me to like move forward and flash them? With
The robed individuals, yes, you can go ahead and go up there and grab, hit them with a flash. The shadows that are around Scarab, that are swarming around her, they're doing exactly that, and so it would be very difficult to hit them without hitting them.
Okay. So then he'll try to take care of the rogue figures then.
Okay.
So he'll kind of run towards them, leap into the air, and project his light. He's got 4 targets possible here, and his total. Oh man, why
As you
dice?
start lifting up,
10 total.
as you start lifting up, I was actually going to say I'm going to call Ghostlight. Let's work together. I can amplify your light.
Aye. Ghostlight has done that, and their cloaks are pulled down low over their faces, creating shadows that obviously seem empowered in some way to you, Ghostlight, as your light is unable to pierce that darkness.
Okay, fair enough.
The shadows themselves, Alice, are going to lash out at you again.
Okay. This time I am going to use sand. I'm going to pull the gravel and dust off this rooftop, bring it into the air, and it'll turn into sand, break down into sand, and it will catch the light that Ghostlight was beaming out, and it will basically ricochet all that light, dispersing the shadows that are coming at me.
Okay. Oh man, what do I got? 20.
16, so I take 1 degree.
Yep.
I will take it off my fortitude as suddenly flares up the force scarab that's encircled me previously in a previous session, flares up from my tiara. There we go. From the scarab on my tiara, and engulfs me, and you can see it soak it and dissipate again.
All right. As for the effect of your thing, you see it rip through some of the shadows, and it does protect you against them, but they seem to just recorporate into these darkened areas as soon as your glittery diamond dust rips through them. And once it's gone, they just kind of recorporate. And so while you've saved yourself from further damage, they continue coming. And with that, we're going to Scarab's action itself. You are down I don't know how surprise rounds, the way I ran it. I gave them basically a round, and then I just ran them in this round as well. But you're down your wizardry and your elemental control because you've used both those to defend.
Yeah, this is why I wanted more powers.
You could have used your resistances to defend.
That's true, I could have. I didn't have much chance on that. But what I can do is I'm going to use my occultism, and I am just going to attempt to aid. Diamond Jim hasn't gone yet, right?
That is correct.
Okay. I am going to use my occultism, and I am going to tell Diamond Jim that calculate the aspect of the light from the moon, and tell Diamond Jim that if he steps to a certain spot and charges at them from that direction, he will catch the optimal light from the moon and be able to dissipate some of that shadow as he's breaking into them. So I am going to roll 3 dice and attempt to aid Jim. Ooh, I only got 1 competency die for Jim, sadly. But, Diamond Jim, you have an additional competency die to be used.
Okay.
Thank you, darling.
You're welcome.
It's okay if you call you darling.
Diamond Jim, the way you've been treating me, I think that just about any endearment's a compliment.
Okay.
But I think that these things are too strong for us to take individually. I think that we should work together. I can amplify the light that Ghostlight throws, and Diamond Jim seems to have some reflective qualities. Maybe we could use that too.
Sounds good. Use me like a prism.
Exactly. Disco ball! Team attack, disco ball!
Aye, the individuals that Ghostlight has attempted to blind,
Yes.
but unfortunately failed against them.
Yes.
They are going to come up, and they are just using blackjacks and cudgels and things like that to try and beat on you.
Okay.
And they call out in this kind of mantra, as their different voices become in one voice. The darkness fears not the light. Shadows exist in the light.
All right. I'm going to try to defend with insubstantiality.
Okay. So since you didn't have that active, you actually do have to roll.
I
Jeez,
know.
my dice are hot.
Uh-oh.
Why weren't they like this during Alice's game? On 2 separate rolls, I had an even split of 6s and 1s in Alice's game earlier today. They attempt to cudgel you around the face and general body with a 13.
They got me. I had rolled an 11, so I'm going to take a die. And I will take it to fortitude.
Okay, and they rush in, and Ghostlight, thinking that he was going to be somewhat protected by blinding them, perhaps being used to how awesome effective that was in Champions, and suddenly having found himself in a Supers universe, unprepared for such, and gets battered a bit by their cudgels. Diamond Jim.
All right. This lady here, the bug lady, is going to use her her powers to amplify his light and use me as a prism. Can we do that now, or should I try something else?
Alice, I think that you gave him a competency die, and how did you give that to him exactly?
I gave you a competency die for this action, so because you're at the bottom of this round, so you want to take your action now because Ghostlight and I already acted. Next round, we can basically, Ghostlight starts the lineup, then I go, then we basically set you up.
Okay, charge at the creature. Is something attacking me, or just trying to make you feel bad?
They've only tried to make you feel bad. At the moment, they are punching Ghostlight, and then there's shadows. There are shadows that are swirling around the Scarab.
I'll charge forth and attack the things that are attacking my good buddy.
Cool.
Okay.
Don't forget you get an extra die because of what I gave you.
All right. So what I roll to hit?
Well, how are you trying to hit them?
What your powers are, yeah. Depends on what you're
Well,
trying to
super strength. I got 5 dice and super strength.
Awesome.
That sounds like you're rolling 5 dice.
You get 1 additional die from me, so you're rolling 6.
I like you, Alice.
I like you too, Tim. Thank you very much for the compliment.
I got let me see here. Total up, 25.
Oh, jeez. Alright, woo! Another decent roll. That's 12. That is 18. That is 2 degrees of success. Diamond Jim, go ahead, as they are basically swarmed around in 1920s style, just beating down on Ghostlight, like he is a scab breaking this strike. And then you come bowling in. Go ahead and describe that to me.
Well, let me see. Is it okay if I played football in high school?
Man, that's your character history. You I'm certain could have done.
Well,
you are
I go to one knee, put my hand to the ground, and I'm like, and I just plow right into him, just slam right into him like a linebacker.
And by this point, Ghostlight has actually gone insubstantial, and so Diamond Jim literally just runs through the mass of them, running through Ghostlight. A bunch of the guys are just thrown. A couple of them land off the roof and such. There's 4 of these guys left, but Jim just dispersed a big amount of the crowd.
Okay.
Awesome.
And then all of a sudden,
thanks, big guy.
Go ahead, Jim. What'd you say?
I turn around.
Aye. Jumping up onto the roof is another individual. He is wearing the patented superhero loincloth, though it's not out of any superheroic fabric, but more like what sumo wrestler, that kind of wrap, or different, earlier times might have done for that kind of thing. He leaps up onto the rooftop, and he says, "Umbrus has commanded us to bring you to her, those who would violate our sanctuary." Um, and he is going to come for Diamond Jim on a full attack.
All right, bring it on.
And so
Well,
this,
your
like I
mom
say,
fed
this
you a
guy
lot
is,
of your mom fed you a lot of shitless, boy.
yeah, he is just swollen up with muscles and all. He's the type that, can't put his hands by his sides anymore. So he is attacking you with his super strength, Diamond Jim. How are you defending?
Armor.
Armor?
Well, I got 5D in fortitude. And I got 4D in armor.
Yeah, so you can use your fortitude if you want to just take it on the chin.
I use my armor. Because taking my armor, I don't go down. Taking my fortitude, I go down. So use armor first.
No.
Whatever he does to you, you can then choose where you're taking it on your defenses. But if you're taking damage, unless your armor has soak, you're taking it in one of your resistances, one way or another.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Now,
Fortitude,
if you want
then.
to reduce the armor by a die and put the soak additive onto it, like Alice has that on her golden shield that she brings up.
My
at that point,
Okay,
as the fight goes
I'm
on,
learning the system.
But that would mean that your armor would be degrading, which I don't
Yep.
think fits Diamond Jim, right? Like,
yeah,
his
it
armor
doesn't
is
fit
always-
Colossus
for
type
me-
image.
Yeah, it fits my force field image. The idea that I
you
can
break down a lot.
go down.
And
and
my armor
charge.
isn't going anywhere.
Yep. So
I'll take out I'll defend her with fortitude. Duh.
cool. Roll your fortitude. The key basically is that you can only defend with something once per round. Well, use it once per round, whether offensively or defensively. So
Except
I
for
have-
armor, which you can
I've
keep
got a
using armor.
20 on the attack.
with a degrading die.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, in a game that's 25 points or higher, I always like to have 3 powers that are active, that are at least like 3 to 4 dice, because then you actually have a chance at defending in a good amount of fight.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this character is at 2 powers that are actually decent, which makes me a little uncomfortable. And it's a little harder to keep up.
All right. I got 8.
Okay, so they beat you. He beats you by 1 as he comes in swinging. You definitely feel that. That's one of the first things that you're really feeling connect with you since you became this way. So you're going to have to take 1 point of damage, just like earlier you had to take 1 off of composure or will from them calling you a freak at this moment that you're really trying to express yourself. And it just showed you that no, you can't trust the human types. So you can take that. You can take that onto your fortitude, your reaction, or your composure when you take regular damage. And whenever you take damage, you're rolling 1 less die of that type. If any of those hit 0, you are taken out of the fight in an appropriate way to that ability hitting 0. Like if your composure hits 0, you basically become just totally ineffective because you're just so upset about everything that's going on, and maybe you just start rampaging. Armor is another way of defending yourself, and so each time, normally a power you can only use once. So Alice used her wizardry to defend herself, and so at that point, for the rest of the round, she could not use wizardry for anything else.
But what makes armor special and mental defense special is that they can be reused, just with the degraded die.
So if he attacks me next time, I can use armor, or I can't use armor?
Yeah, if you were being attacked, if you were being attacked by 3 people right now, like you would want to use your fortitude first if it were 5D, and then you'd want to go to your armor, and then if a third person attacked you, you'd want to probably defend with armor again, right? The second time you defended with armor, you'd be at 3D. But the nice thing about armor is that you can passively use it over and over again until you run out of dice to use. right?
Okay.
It just degrades 1 per extra shot you take.
Okay, I'm getting it now. Okay.
Yeah.
So I get hurt.
So he runs up, this guy having just jumped up onto the roof with you guys, lays in a punch on Diamond Jim, and that Jim feels. You take a couple of stuttering steps back, but he doesn't knock you for a loop like you did with the guys that you just threw off the roof. And at that point, we're going to go back to the top with Ghostlight.
Okay, so Ghostlight is gonna return the assist. He's gonna move in to attack the guy that's fighting Diamond Jim. Actually, let me ask this question first. Scarab hasn't taken any damage, has she?
I have taken damage.
Oh, you have taken damage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in that case, I'm gonna move in to support you.
My armor opened up and, it seemed to like absorb it, but yeah, it definitely blew me back.
And she has shadows around her?
I
Yes.
do have shadows all around me.
Okay. He's gonna try to fight the shadows using his elemental control energy to basically, channel through his fist, martial arts wise.
Okay. I'll go ahead and give you a bonus die on it because you have light against darkness.
Ah ha ha. I was hoping you'd say something like that.
It's like Pokemon battles, guys.
Alright, let me get an extra die out. Okay, here we go. Alright, take this, Shadow. Okay, this is much better. This is 11, 14, 17, 20.
Ooh. Let's see how I am doing. 15. Still
All right.
rolling above average on my side. So, but you come in and the shadows definitely get cut down a bit. Go ahead and describe how this is looking to our onlookers, our comic book readers.
Yeah, so it's basically, you see him striking like a martial strike, and there's a flash of light that's drawn at the end of the strike, and you probably see the shadow. I don't know if the shadow has like any facial features or anything like that, but at the very least, it would have a pose of kind of like, like pain or whatever, and be like a little bit dissipated.
Oh, a Captain Kirk pain, apparently.
Yes, that's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite pain poses.
Captain Kirk pain. That's my favorite pain. The shadows, since Scarab has been not really that effective against them. Well, she didn't even try to be effective. She just aided Diamond Jim. They, sensing a different target, a more threatening target, lash out at Ghostlight, attempting to claw at him as they slash at him with shadowy blades.
Okay. And he will attempt to defend with his, I guess, with his insubstantiality again. Actually, I guess with his flight. He'll turn insubstantial so he can fly, but, that doesn't really make sense, though. It'd have to be the insubstantiality. Right? So that's what I'm going to do. Oh, crap. 7, 9 total.
Okay, you win this round, Ghostlight.
Really?
My dice
All
karma
right.
has turned against me.
All right.
They attempt to cut through you, and you feel, perhaps for the first time, that there are things that can affect you while you're insubstantial and all. And because you feel that passing through you, unlike, when Diamond Jim just literally ran through you,
Right.
you felt nothing from him, basically.
Right.
And it's only because you had gotten, achieved such a good state of that insubstantiality that it allowed you to get through.
Okay.
Scarab, what do we got from you?
Okay. So he just created, so as he blasted through, he just created this blast of light, right? That's why he got the extra damage? Okay.
Yes.
Great. At this point, Scarab is going to call up, and she raises both her hands, and you guys see basically this time, instead of black beetles coming out of the shadows, these metallic-looking ones. They are called Christina resplendent beetles, by the way.
Oh,
They
I knew
have
a Christina that did this.
Christina. They are considered, they're called jewel scarab beetles. You can look it up, but they literally look like pure gold, and they reflect a ton of light. They shine really, really bright. So, I am going to basically create, pull them up from the darkness, and create a set of mirror prisms of beetles funneling that resounding light, and then using it to blast through Diamond Jim as a prism. So I'm going to try and activate 5 dice. This is essentially going to basically power Diamond Jim up, because I want us to basically pow them really hard where we're having trouble hitting them, one individually a lot
Well,
of times.
now realize Diamond Jim is currently engaged with obvious heavy hitter, and he has the last of those the group that was bludgeoning Ghostlight around him. So he's kind of off where the two of you are engaged with the shadows.
Yeah, but I'm assuming if I free him up sooner, that he can come here, because some of these guys just seem really hard to beat down.
Well, you're talking about using the light to power him up and such, and so the opponents that he's with aren't they're not the shadows.
Oh, okay.
You have people over there.
Okay. Well, then I will just power up I will just basically use the theory that of mirrors in a room with light, meaning that if you have a darkish room, you put mirrors in it to reflect the light from the windows, because it literally amplifies light. So I'm going to create a set of mirrors amplifying the light that Ghostlight just gave off, to create, basically amplify the blinding aspect of it.
Okay. On your wizardry, you're going to need the description is going to have 2 dice of area effect going on to it.
I do have 1 die. I did buy area effect once on something. Hold on, let me check. Oh no, that's on
Yeah,
sand.
that's the other one.
So I don't have area effect. I'm just trying to basically funnel it through. Sure, I'll stunt it.
Well, no, you just talked about a hall of mirrors and how there was going to be light all over, and so
yeah, I'll spend my competency die for it then.
There's not a competency die that you've got wizardry.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I'm just
that's
telling
true.
you
All I
that
have to do is spend it. Yeah, that's fine.
2 of the dice are going to have to be towards an area effect, the way that you described that.
That's fine with me. Let me try and activate at 5 dice. Sorry, I misunderstood your request. I activate, thanks to the 6. So I'm dropping 2 dice for the area of effect, and rolling my other 3. Ooh, nice. Well, sorta. I rolled a 12 on my 3 dice.
Alright, now do you want this to aid you or hurt them, is my final question.
Well, since I'm not able to team up with anybody right now, I'm going to hurt them.
Okay.
Seriously though, those beetles are cool looking. They apparently look like they're made of pure gold. I was reading another article on them, and they are, in the sunlight, they're just crazy. I just linked it.
And they're called what?
They are called jewel scarab beetles, or otherwise known as ornate Christina resplendent beetles.
Yeah,
and they literally look like pure gold.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's beautiful.
Can you believe nature creates these colors and amazing things like that? Just think about a mirror of all those gold beetles put together.
Alright, Alice, go ahead and toss 1 die for me.
4.
Okay. Writing this down. Okay. You're all of a sudden there's scarabs that are swarming out of these bright golden scarabs, and the light that ghost light smashes into one of the shadows, begins reflecting off of them. They're set up to aim at each other and intensifying that light. The more of them that it bounces off of, until they then break open their wings, and suddenly the light just is aimed into the middle of the rooftop, and it glows with the light of day, though you are in dark night. And the shadows lessen around Scarab and Ghostlight. Some of the guys that were bludgeoning Ghostlight a minute ago are, covering their eyes as they can't deal with it. And the swollen guy is the strong guy that punched Jim. He, just kind of tries to wince through it, but is obviously all of them are obviously affected by the bringing of the light.
Awesome.
Nice.
Aye. Jim, the remaining of those cultists are at this point going to try and beat on you. So you're engaged, just so you know, with them and that one big guy. You go between them on the initiative order. So it's up to you on what you want to defend with.
All right, the mooks.
Yeah.
I'll defend them with fighting.
Okay. So they come up and they attempt to beat you, and they give out the cry "For Umbris" as they run up to you.
Okay. $12.
12. Okay.
Fighting.
You are, they come up and there's 3 guys left at this point. You give a wide sweep of your arm, and the clubs get knocked out of their hands on 2 of them. One of them comes up and just bops you on the head, and you're like, I did not even feel that. And their attack has no effect on the hard surface of Diamond Jim.
Okay.
Jim, it is your action.
Well, I'm going to hit the fat boy.
Okay.
Are you going to use super strength?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I got 2 competency dice. I'm going to add die.
Okay.
That's a 6, yeah. 12, 16. 26.
Whew. What do I got here? That is a measly 12. So he is beaten by 3 degrees of success there.
Ooh.
You come back at him, and he does not attempt to dodge, to block. He just tries to take it on the chin, and instead of giving him the expected on the chin, you give him a nice solid gut punch. He is rocketed.
Got a lot of gut.
Yeah, he does. He is rocketed off the roof. As your super strength collides with him, knocking him down into the park, and you just, as in that slow mo, as you come in with the comic panel and you're swinging for his stomach, and then it's just a close up of his head. It's just the wind is knocked out of him in pain, and his eyes are bulging as that blow lands on him.
That's awesome.
And with that, it is his action, and he is going to retreat towards the Church of the Streets.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
This group has some great lines, I gotta say. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right,
I just started. Y'all taking off?
The
I thought
three
you were going to kick
cultists.
my ass.
The three cultists, two of them having been disarmed of their cudgels, and one of them having had no effect as he popped you on the face. They similarly are breaking and running at this point. The shadows continue to swirl around Ghostlight and Scarab. So, Ghostlight, we are back to you on the top.
All right, and I'm going to do the same thing. Another sort of martial strike with an energized martial strike. So let's see. This is going to be. Oh, I still get the other plus with the other die.
Yes.
Additional die. Okay. Ooh. So this is 22.
22.
Yep.
4 degrees of success.
Nice.
So Ghostlight, since you are the one that's closing this fight, basically, go ahead and give us our closing panel here, our
Yeah.
double page splash.
Now, are these shadows totally amorphous, or do
Yes.
they have?
They will take on a form for a moment, and then they'll kind of collapse into a shadow, and then come back as that form and such. But you know,
Okay.
any monster on the wall type look, given some
Right.
sense of three dimensionality for a moment, is basically how
Okay.
they're working.
So it takes on one of those forms. He punches it. It morphs into a different form, which he then punches with another energized blow, and then he punches again, and it's just like a bright flash of light that just disperses it completely.
Okay. And with that, as you guys are sitting on the roof watching the super strong guy that Diamond Jim just gave a good punt to off, and he's retreating back to the church that everything seems to be pointing towards. You guys are there for a moment, and as our time seems to be coming to a close, it's tomorrow for Aldo already.
Yeah.
So that seems to be about when we pack in.
All right. So let's do that. That was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Of course, I'm happy
Yeah.
to.
Go.
Thank you for watching the Chaotic Origins podcast. We had a good time playing, and we hope we had a good time watching it. We'll see you here in 2 weeks. At least two of us are going to celebrate being in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. So I'll see y'all next time. Y'all be good.
Adios, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Adios.
Bye.